$5 million. 6, 7,
Yes, some old cars can sell for a crazy amount of money, but what about the not-so-old ones? Can you buy a cheap car today which will, given enough time, make you rich? Hey guys, I'm Stype, and here are my picks for the top 7 future collectibles that you should get today.
Hurry up and buy!
Number 7.
I don't know if you've noticed, but AMG has changed. No longer are they making stupid cars for burning rubber. No, now they're all about numbers. 0 to 60, lap times, and precision engineering. Let me tell you what, boring. What you want is this, the last of the crazy AMGs. The 2013 C63 507 Edition. A compact coupe, saloon, or estate with one of the biggest naturally aspirated V8s in modern history. 6.2 liters of German firepower. Take a listen to this. The magic number here is 507. That's the number of horsepower, which is slightly more than the regular C63 and enough to send it flying through every corner, sideways. This car is so tail-happy that even the hardcore Black Series version can't keep its composure, despite having more blades than a Swiss Army knife. Just look at this Top Gear comparison with the Maserati Gran Turismo. That's the power of unhinged power. Sadly, the black is already a collectible, which leaves us with the 507 edition, currently at $40,000 and still going down, but not for long. Besides, remember what happened last time AMG put their biggest V8 in a regular car? We got the hammer. So learn from the history and get the 507 before everyone else realizes that this silly 6.2-liter Merc is already a thing of the past.
Number 6.
Before TT, Audi has never made a car that is interesting to look at. They were all work and no fun. Even the rally-conquering Quattro or the Porsche-engineered RS2, they were never wallpaper material. This all changed when the TT came out. In Audi, that is style first and the rest second. Drawing heavy inspiration from the Bauhaus, the German design school, this 2+2 coupe prioritizes geometrical, industrial, and simplistic, almost symmetrical look. It's a timeless design that will always look different and interesting, be it 20 years ago or 20 years from now. And that's enough to make it a future classic. However, because there are many titties out there, choosing the right one is especially important. The V6 model with the dual clutch is the fastest and the rarest one, so that's the obvious choice. But the dynamics of this car were never its main selling point, so a regular 1.8 turbo is also good if it's in good shape. That means low mileage and no aftermarket modifications. As for me, I'd go for the earliest models without the spoiler. These are incredibly rare, more interesting to look at, and somewhat deadly too. Without the spoiler, the early TTs were unstable at high speed, resulting in many fatal accidents, so a recall was issued to fix the problem by adding a spoiler. But a few cars still managed to slip unscathed, and those have a story to tell. That will always be more valuable.
Number 5.
You know those Photoshop what-if images? Like, what if Mazda made the MX-5 shooting brake? What if Rolls did a supercar? Or what if Aston Martin did a city car? Well, actually, that city car already exists, and it's called the Cygnet. Basically, it's a Toyota IQ with the Aston Martin design details all over it. The iconic grille, side vents, C-shaped taillights, it's all there, including the handmade full leather interior. The reason why this car exists in the first place is a certain European law that forces car manufacturers to build greener cars or pay the fines.
I am the law!
Since all cars Aston builds are with big great V8s or V12s, the aim was to lower the average CO2 emissions with this tiny city car, which cost $50,000. Good God! For that reason alone, Cygnet failed miserably after just 2 years and 300 units sold. That's a shame because this is actually a good city car. It's frugal, the turning circle is better than you would find on a smart car, and the interior is such a lovely place to be in.
It's like a warm bath made of leather cows, shaped into car seats. You get to put your butt on them. Oh, it's lovely.
All in all, Cygnet is one of the strangest and rarest Astons ever made. The price has never really dropped to what it's actually worth as a car, so it's still a little pricey, but just you wait a few years, and rich collectors will be paying double that for this little oddity.
Number 4.
This is a safe bet. The E46 M3 is going to be a future collectible 100%. I ran a poll asking people to rank the M3 models from their most to least favorite, and this one ended up at the second place, losing only to the already cult classic, the original E30. And I can see why everyone likes it so much. It's a simple recipe. Naturally aspirated, straight six, rear-wheel drive, and handling so good that it was used as a benchmark for all other sports cars. In short, this car is what BMW means when they say the ultimate driving machine. It doesn't hurt that the styling was also perfect blend of beauty and aggression. Everything is just the right size and the right shape. Cars usually start to look lame after 20 years or so, but the E46 never went through such a design crisis. It's an evergreen design from a time when BMW wasn't hiring absolute imbeciles. These early 2000s M3s came in 3 different flavors: coupe, convertible, and hardcore CSL. But you can forget about that last one because they're already collectibles. From what's left, you want a manual because the SMG gearbox sucked, and as few miles as your budget can handle. But as long as it's not falling apart, any E46 M3 is a winner.
Number 3.
The regular Renault Clio is a small, slow, and practical city car with a good fuel economy. But then there is also a mid-engine V6 version, which is none of those things. That one is just crazy. There were such hatchbacks during the Group B rallying era, but they existed only to pass the homologation rule. For this one, Renault just went YOLO! How else would you explain turning a sensible little hatchback into a mild supercar that has rear-wheel drive and a massive wide body kit that almost makes it wider than longer? Seriously, look how swollen those arches are. Also, the engine sits inside the cabin right behind you. Not much of a firewall or separation, just madness.
This is madness!
This doesn't leave much trunk space either, front or rear. I have pockets that carry more stuff. None of these cars were ever daily driven, so most are with low mileage, plus they're rare, and that makes them somewhat pricey to buy. But if its predecessor's value is any indication, the Clio V6 is still a good deal. And finally, there are 2 versions, or phases as Renault called them. Phase 2 has a bit more power, less nervous handling, and a facelifted front, but nothing too drastic to make it a clear favorite. Basically, you'll be doubling your money with either one of them.
Number 2.
Although Giulia QF is still in production, there are too many indicators pointing to the fact that this car will be a future classic. First of all, despite what the badges say, this is a 4-door Ferrari. Without going into too many details, you can learn more about it in my previous video about automotive collaborations. This car was developed more by Ferrari than Alfa Romeo, and that makes it a very special car indeed. Emotionally, dynamically, and even by the numbers, the Giulia Quadrifoglio thingy is head and shoulders above its rivals. No question about it. Sadly, there is one number where this car fails: sales. Despite FCA pumping millions into reviving the Alfa Romeo brand, no one bought them, this or any other model. At home turf in Italy, Lancia sold more Ypsilons than all the Alfas combined. So this car is rare too. To catch the attention of more buyers, Alfa made various special editions, like the N-Ring, Racing Edition, and lastly an even more hardcore GTA. Those in particular will be fetching astronomical figures. My advice, keep an eye on Giulia. Never let it slip your mind. And then, when the used price bottoms out, you pick one up and hold it as if you have diabetes and the car is made of insulin.
Number 1.
The first generation Viper is the oldest one on this list, so frankly, your time to act is now. The prices of these are already on par with the 3rd generation, which means people are starting to understand what is so appealing about the nasty old snake.
This is Snake.
It's an old school car, like old school. Even by the early 90s standards when this car came out, it was shocking to find what kind of features the first-gen Viper was lacking. Forget about the electronic safety things like ESP or ABS, this car didn't even have door handles or windows or any kind of roof. Basically, the goal was to create a modern, well, maybe not very modern, but a spiritual recreation of the Shelby Cobra. That means an open body, raging wheels at the back, a gigantic engine at the front, and a place for you in the middle. And that's about it. Such cars haven't existed for a long time now, and later, even Viper had to succumb to the rules and regulations of the nanny state. So if you're looking for a devilish thing that will make you smile and dead at the same time, this Viper RT10 is your last legal option to make it so. Buy this thing now, because if Prohibition has taught us anything, it's that people will go to great lengths to get wasted. And now, 3 other future classics. Did you guess them? What cars do you think will go up in price? Write down in the comments, vote which topic I should do next, and I'll see you in the next one.